What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about strategy today, MSTR, or as we all know and love it by, MicroStrategy. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys, and let's get into it. Okay, here we are at about $371.30 right now. Up a little bit to start the day, 0.5% to the upside. That's nice to see. You did pull up yesterday. You did actually pull up and wick out. You actually had a little bit of a green day, a semi green day, which is nice, right? That keeps this notion alive that we are not rejecting off the overbought zone. We are in fact moving higher. We're in the overbought zone now. This is a good look, you guys. This is actually a really good look. Bitcoin. I just made a video on Bitcoin. Bitcoin end of day rally. I'm at 102. That's not where I think it's going to be by the end of the day. Maybe by the end of tomorrow. That'd be a nice goal to have. But I am expecting Bitcoin to move up by the end of the day as well. The day has about 10 hours, 11 minutes left. MicroStrategy's day has 6 hours, 11 minutes left. So I think that throughout the rest of the time that at least that MSTR is open, we will see growth in Bitcoin and thus growth in MicroStrategy, which is awesome. It's awesome, right? Because today's Tuesday. It's the beginning of the week. And if you grow today, if you close here or you close higher, you're getting overbought in the RSI. That's an awesome thing, you guys. Look at this, right? For example, we're going to try and take this in a circumstantial kind of scenario here, right? You were overbought the last time that you were overbought was here, right? You haven't been overbought in this whole time. You're finally getting overbought now. I don't want to compare these overbought readings to here because these overbought readings, while this was, yes, the last time that you were overbought, this was your overbought readings at the end of a trail of being overbought. I think it'd be much more appropriate to take this overbought reading whenever you first got here compared to the price to what we're doing now, because while yes, you got a little bit overbought here and there and here as well, you kind of rejected it. I would say this is your first time really getting overbought since back here, right? So it had been a long time since you've been overbought. It's been a long time since you've been overbought. Let's not compare it to the last time you were overbought, but the first time you got overbought in the last time. Does that make sense? So we're going to compare this to that and just see how that goes, right? Let's look at it right now. So over here, if we're looking at MSTR, you can see you're in this very nice long consolidation phase, just like Bitcoin, the halving consolidation, right? Very common in the cycle. And you can see here we were beginning to break out. This was the beginning of our expansion move. We didn't really confirm that until we broke out about here. Well, when did we break out? When did that breakout happen? It was right here because you were still below these areas here, but it was effectively right in this area, right when you first got overbought, right? When you got overbought was essentially right here. This was just the beginning. Again, looking at this move overall from a low to a high, you were well on your way already in this move. And let me see, maybe I can draw a line of best fit. Maybe not a line of best fit, but just a straight line, a connecting line from the low to the high, low to high here. You know, out of this whole line or out of this whole move from low to high, this was about maybe 20% of it, 25% of it, right? It's a good chunk by the time you got overbought, but still, it was the very beginning. You had a lot more to give. That's my whole point here, is the beginning of something fantastic. Here we are now, I think, at the beginning of something fantastic, right? You were just breaking out there. Here, we've broken out of our downtrend. We broke out of it back here, but still close enough, close is close. We're in that same kind of concept of a design in the growth of price, right? We're probably here in the same kind of concept, just beginning. If this is 20%, you know, the move is going to be like that's like a third. We need to keep growing. You know, the move is going to be like up to here. And that points us out to about $1,100, $1,400, basically right in that area that we're looking for, that we've been looking for. And at this pace, if we grow at this pace, that puts us there in the middle of June, right? Maybe it takes longer. Maybe it takes less time. Maybe we go higher. Who knows? But you know, that's a pretty comparable pace right here. This line to what we saw here. I guess it's a little bit faster. From a low to a high, though, it looks like it's a direct connecting line there. But all that to say, this is good. This is good. Closing here today, green or higher where we are now. If Bitcoin pulls up like I think it will by the end of the day and MicroStrategy follows suit, this is good. Why? Because we'd be getting overbought. Now, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. You'll hear different things about the RSI. Everybody has their own opinions. Me, I've been doing this for 9 years, you know, and there are people who've been doing this for longer than me that have their own opinions that are different than mine as well. Experience isn't everything, but it helps. Experience does help, right? Experience doesn't make you an expert. I've never claimed to be an expert, but it definitely helps, right? I think that it does help because if you see things, you're not so prone to just getting excited over something mundane because the fundamentals of what you've learned have said that that's what happens, right? Getting overbought does not mean that it's time to sell. That's what I'm trying to say. Getting overbought is not. A lot of people look at the RSI and they think, "Oh, we got overbought. It might be time to hold off. I'm not buying now." No, man. Hell, are you kidding? What did we just do? What are you talking about? You got overbought here. If you bought as soon as you got overbought, you were chicken and you didn't buy up until we got overbought, that actually would have been a brilliant move. You would have killed it. You would have done great. We're overbought now. If you buy here, even if we correct, right, like we did back here, you're still going to kill it. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Maybe we do correct. Maybe we do, maybe we do. We probably don't. But this is a signal. Getting overbought is actually not a sell signal. It's actually a buy signal most of the time. It depends on how you do it, right? You don't want to just get in and get out, and you want to look at your shorter term stuff. You want to see where you are in your trend, all this kind of stuff. You don't want to just look at it by itself, and that's what I mean by people have misconceived notions. They think that they can read the fundamentals of an indicator and understand basic things about it, and then they get excited whenever they see, oh, it's overbought, that means it's time to sell. But if you take other things into context, we've just broken out of this downtrend. We are getting above now our Eve and Adam pattern. We've just broken out of this. We have more to go. You can easily conclude that this is not where it stops. We're just getting started, right? If we're looking at this on a 1 hour basis, we're looking at the RSI. This is something that helps too, right? You cooled off. You were overbought. Last week, you closed the week overbought. You cooled off a little bit to start off the week. Lower lows in the RSI, bouncing off the 50 as you have done before, Lower lows, higher lows in the price, lower lows in the indicator, higher lows in the price equals hidden bullish divergence, which means you're going to grow. You're going to go up to $400 and beyond. We're at 371 now. There's no volume though, C-Zar. That's a great point. There is no volume on this move up. But the thing is, you don't need volume while you're in this consolidation phase. You need volume when you break out of it. So as we press higher, as the end of the day comes, and we do press higher throughout the end of the day, I'd like to see some volume come in. It doesn't have to be a crazy big spike. It doesn't have to be anything insane, right? It could be, whatever, fine. But just be above average. Get some volume to come in as you're moving up higher. It doesn't have to be as soon as you're up here, boom, we need that volume. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. As soon as you're up here, boom, we need that volume. But ideally within a short amount of time, we need to see some volume come in, especially as you're breaking away and going higher. If the volume doesn't come in, you probably won't break away too high, and we'll probably reverse. You know what I mean? So, and look for a place where volume will be, so that we can then send ourselves higher. It'll be a higher low nonetheless. But my expectation is, looking at the 1 hour, we've got more growth to go. Looking at the daily time frame, we've got more growth to go. We look at the 3 hour time frame, 2 hours 35 minutes left here. Overbought as hell, looking great, strong, got out of the overbought zone, bounced off of it. You're in a really prime position to continue moving higher, right? If we look at this, the last time that you kind of did this, you were overbought and then you got out of it, and then you moved up. Look at what transpired afterwards. You moved up in a fantastic fashion, right? Even going back here, whenever you first got overbought, right? You were getting overbought, bouncing off the overbought zone, continued to bounce off this overbought area, and you just slowly, methodically were making your way up, right? Anybody who thought we had to sell because we're getting overbought, I mean, how'd that work out for you? It didn't really work out. Even up here, sure, it might have worked out for you temporarily, but if you didn't get back in within like a day or two, this is the 3 hour time frame, you would have missed out on the more growth to come, right? This is just the beginning of the good things that are coming, you guys. And I really do believe bouncing off the overbought zone here is setting us up for higher prices. Now, setting us up for higher prices, where are these higher prices going to be? Ultimately, you know what my thoughts are, right? We're going to go to likely prices that are above $1,100. I'm thinking something around $1,300, maybe even as high as $1,700, $2,000 is possible by the end of June. Depending on how high we go, that will dictate my belief as far as, is the cycle done for MicroStrategy? Has it topped off? If we see anything above $2,000, that could be the cycle high, guys. It really could be the cycle high. If it's below $2,000, which is what I'm expecting, we probably have more to grow. $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 could be the end of the cycle targets, but we'll see. We'll see. My expectations are that by the end of June, by the beginning of July, we will see prices that are around $1,300, if not maybe as high as $1,700. That's the expectations at the moment, okay? But we could go higher. We absolutely could go higher. We've done the math. We could go higher. It's very possible. Looking at this here, though, where are we going to go momentarily speaking? Not just by the end of this move, but where are we going to go momentarily speaking? From a high to a low here, the very clear, obvious path forward would take you to your golden ratio. Right here between 392 and 417. It's very possible, and we've seen a lot of cryptos do this recently, where they just bypass their golden ratio and go to their 786, right? You're very volatile here. You went above your 382, very volatile. My bet would be that you don't go above 417 right now. You probably find resistance around here, but being that you have resistance back here, pretty significant resistance right here, it's very close to that 786. Maybe you do. You just got overbought. Maybe you have some legs to run, and you do go all the way up to 452. So essentially, where are we going in the short term before we see our next kind of corrective phase on our path ultimately higher? it's somewhere between 392 and 452. And if I really had to guess, I think we do stop somewhere that's above $400, just above $400. And I have my own reasons for believing that, right? Beyond just the TA, my thoughts are if we stop, if we go just above $400, there's going to be a psychological game happening to people who are watching MicroStrategy. 390, 410, it doesn't matter, man. It really doesn't matter. You cross that threshold of $400, it doesn't matter, right? The fibs tell us all right here, it doesn't matter. It's this area that matters. It's not the number 400 that matters. But psychologically speaking, we like those round numbers. People will become inherently more bullish. They'll feel the urgency to get in when they see the price. It's at 390, 395. They might have the urgency a little bit. They get the itch, they get the itch, they get the tickle. But once it's above 400, it's impulsive. It's like, oh my God, it broke 400. Now it's going to go to the moon. No, it's. I mean, that we should have had that realization whenever we broke above 283. You know what I mean? But 400, it's a nice psychological rounded number. People are going to feel the pressure to buy. There's probably going to be a lot of people who FOMO here, and then the smart money will sell into them. My thoughts are we'll get a little bit above 400, probably around 420, 410, something like that, and then we'll sell there. As soon as people start getting excited that we're going to go higher because we break over this psychological point of resistance, that'll be the ideal time to sell. That's my thoughts. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. If Bitcoin moves up as much as I think it's going to over the next day, I'm anticipating that we see prices, let's see. From here, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw prices that were up about 10%. If that's the case, then we're probably not going to stop just above $400. We're probably going to tear through it and go to the 786 because 10% pump for Bitcoin, well, actually, maybe we do. It could result in a 10% pump for MicroStrategy, but it probably results, if Bitcoin pumps 10%, MicroStrategy is going to pump 20%. It all depends on how it happens. If BTC pumps over the weekend and it comes back down before the week starts, MSTR won't get as much of a bump from that. But, time will tell. We'll see how it goes. It's very tricky waters to navigate. It's not too clear as far as the precise destination, but it is clear as far as where we're going. And we're going up. We still have more growth to go. And then, of course, beyond all this, the target areas that we're talking about here to top off by the end of June, if not early July, is like $1,100, $1,300. If we were to go to 1600, the 2272, odds are you don't stop right there. You never do stop right. So I shouldn't say never. It's rare. It's like 9 out of 10 times that you don't stop right at the 2272, but rather go just above it. When I say you go just above it, I mean like, man, you're at 1600. Maybe you go right there to 1650. Maybe you go right there to 1730. Maybe you go all the way up to 1800, but something that's just above it could be possible. And we'll know that that's true. If you see prices above $1,300, we're basically validated in the idea that we'll see prices above $1,600 by the end of this move. But this is the first kind of hurdle, right? I don't believe we'll stop at 918. I think we're going to bypass that easily. I mean, maybe not easily. Maybe we find some turbulence and then inevitably break through it, whatever. But we're going to bypass that. We're going to get past that and ultimately see prices that are well above $1,000. I don't have anything else that I want to say. I've said everything that I need to say. The expectation is that from here at $370 by the end of today, we continue to grow because I do expect Bitcoin to continue to grow as well. I suppose if I'm wrong with Bitcoin though, and today is a red day, if we continue to drop with Bitcoin, you're not really going to get anywhere with MicroStrategy. So, and if that's the case, if we do see a red day, let's talk about that. You'd be rejecting the overbought zone, which is not a good thing. It doesn't prevent you from getting overbought inevitably. You will probably get overbought inevitably, but it does set you up for rejection down to the 60. Maybe you bounce there, down to the 50. Maybe you bounce there, or even down to the 40, and maybe you bounce there. You know what I mean? So rejecting here would not be an ideal situation. It would suspend our momentary bullishness, right? It would suspend it for a later date. It doesn't mean that we're not going to these targets. It just means instead of doing it now, we're doing it later. You know what I mean? So if you want to avoid that, close today green, do what I'm saying is going to happen, and all will be fine. I've got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.